Carlos Alomar, Bowie's guitarist, could never forget that night. David went up and the platform stopped. Then it started swaying backward. His eyes were filled with panic. The Diamond Dogs tour kicked off in Philadelphia in June of 1974 and opened with a disaster that would go down in rock history. The stage crew had been preparing for months. 20 tons of steel structure, hydraulic platforms, rotating bridges, moving cranes. Architect Jules Fisher came from Broadway, and nothing like this had ever been done for a rock concert. But during the opening rehearsals, everything started going wrong. The electrical systems weren't sufficient. The hydraulic pumps were overloading. The security team warned Bowie, "This is dangerous. You need to use safety harnesses on the platforms." Bowie refused. "It ruins the performance. The audience can't see that." On the night of June 24th, Carlos Alomar was playing guitar on stage when he looked up and was horrified. Bowie's platform had stopped working, and Bowie was about to fall. If this story gets you excited, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications, because we're uncovering the darkest moments in music history just for you. By the end of 1973, David Bowie was in crisis. He had killed off the Ziggy Stardust persona and was searching for a new vision. The Aladdin Sane era had ended. The Pin-Ups album hadn't connected with critics the way he'd hoped. Bowie sat in his studio, reading George Orwell's book 1984, Totalitarian Regimes, Collapsed Cities, Hopelessness. This wasn't just a novel, this was Bowie's new vision. The Diamond Dogs album was born from this dystopian nightmare, but Bowie didn't just want to make an album, he wanted to create a theatrical experience, a Broadway show disguised as a rock concert, an apocalypse brought to life on stage. In February 1974, Bowie visited Broadway stage designer Jules Fisher in his New York office. Fisher had won Tony Awards for his work on Hair and Jesus Christ Superstar, but he'd never worked on a rock concert. Bowie told him his vision: "I need to fly in the sky. I need to dance among city ruins. I need to move on cranes. The audience should feel like they're entering a dystopian world. They should forget they're at a concert." Fisher sketched designs in his notebook: moving bridges, hydraulic platforms, rotating cranes. Then he pulled out his calculator and did the math. He looked at Bowie and said, "This will cost $250,000, maybe more, and I need to be honest with you, this is very dangerous. Rock concerts have never used mechanical systems like this." Bowie didn't hesitate for a second. "Let's do it." $250,000 was a fortune in 1974. It was almost everything Bowie had. His manager Tony Dayfries went crazy. "David, this is suicide. If you lose this money, you lose everything." But Bowie was convinced. This wasn't just a concert, this was art history, and you couldn't make art history without taking risks. In March, Fisher's team began work on the stage design. 20 tons of steel skeleton, platforms on 3 separate levels, a hydraulic system that would lift Bowie 20 feet into the air, rotating bridges, moving ladders, laser light systems, and the most dangerous element, a motorized crane system that would carry Bowie from one end of the stage to the other. May 1974. Rehearsals began in Los Angeles. As the stage crew assembled the steel structure, the first problems emerged. The hydraulic pumps were noisy. Platform speed couldn't be controlled. A security engineer presented his report. "This system wasn't designed for a rock concert. The platform sways. Safety harnesses should be mandatory." Bowie read the report and tossed it aside. "The audience can't see me in a safety harness." In early June, the crew moved to Philadelphia. On June 14th, the first major accident happened. A stage worker was testing the platform. The hydraulic system malfunctioned, and the platform dropped from 12 feet. He broke his arm and cracked his ribs. Bowie only said, "Fix the system. The show won't be cancelled." June 20th, first full rehearsal. Bowie got on the platform and was lifted up. The platform suddenly stopped. Then it swayed backward. David lost his balance. Technicians manually lowered the platform. When David came down, his face was pale, but he just said, "Do it again." That night, Bowie wrote his will. The Philadelphia Spectrum Arena was packed with 17,000 people. Bowie's fans had arrived hours early. Backstage was chaos. Technicians were doing final checks. Hydraulic systems were being tested. The head of security gave his final report. There are still problems with the system. The platform's weight sensor isn't working properly. We should test again. He looked at his watch. We don't have time to test. The show starts in 20 minutes. Bowie was sitting in his dressing room. Orange hair, glitter makeup, dystopian costume. Eyes closed, taking deep breaths. The door opened and Carlos Alomar came in. David, are you ready? Bowie opened his eyes. I'm ready. But if something happens tonight, don't stop the music. The show must go on. Carlos said half-jokingly. What could happen? Bowie looked at him but didn't smile. Anything could happen. 8:30 p.m. The lights went out in the arena. 17,000 people screamed. Smoke machines started working on stage. Laser lights scanned the sky, and dystopian city sounds came through the speakers. Sirens, explosions, chaos. Then Bowie came on stage. The crowd went wild. Bowie grabbed the microphone and started singing the first song, 1984. His voice was powerful, his performance precise. The first 3 songs went smoothly. That's all right, Rebel, Rebel. The audience was dancing ecstatically. But then that moment came, the 4th song, Sweet Thing. For this song, Bowie had to get on the platform and be lifted 20 feet high. Bowie walked to the platform. He held his microphone. Technicians activated the hydraulic system. The platform slowly began to rise. 3 feet, 6 feet, 9 feet. The audience looked up. Bowie was like he was in the sky. He started singing, 12 feet, 15 feet, and then at 20 feet, the platform suddenly stopped. Just stopped. Bowie kept singing, but his eyes were worried. Technicians looked at the control panel. The hydraulic pump wasn't responding. The platform just hung there, motionless 20 feet high. Bowie was still singing. Most of the audience didn't realize there was a problem, but the stage crew was panicking. Carlos Alomar was playing his guitar when he looked up and felt his heart stop. The platform wasn't just motionless. It was starting to sway backward, slowly, but it was swaying. Bowie felt it. He grabbed onto the steel barriers, but the barriers were swaying with him. He was trying to sing, but his voice was trembling. The audience was starting to notice now. Something was wrong. Whispers spread. Why isn't the platform moving? Is Bowie okay? Backstage, the security team rushed to the control panel. The hydraulic pump was completely unresponsive. They tried manual control. Nothing happened. The only way to lower the platform was the manually operated emergency winch. But that winch took at least 2 minutes, and the platform's swaying was increasing. The team yelled, "Lower the platform now! Now!" The crew and 3 technicians ran to the emergency winch. They started turning it by hand. The platform slowly, very slowly, began to descend, but the swaying didn't stop. Bowie was up there, 20 feet high, still trying to sing. But now the fear was clearly visible. His hands were gripping the steel barrier tightly. His knees were slightly bent to maintain balance. The platform descended to 15 feet, then 12 feet. The swaying got even worse. Bowie was almost going to fall. Some in the audience started screaming. Staff prepared to rush the stage. Carlos Alomar stopped playing his guitar and ran to the edge of the stage, ready to catch Bowie if he fell. 9 feet, 6 feet. The swaying was at maximum level. Bowie wasn't singing anymore. He was just trying to hold on. 3 feet, and then the platform reached the ground. Bowie immediately jumped off. When his feet touched the ground, his knees buckled. Carlos ran and caught him. The audience was trying to understand what happened. Bowie grabbed the microphone, out of breath but trying to speak. Sometimes technology teaches us a lesson, ladies and gentlemen. But the show goes on. The audience applauded hesitantly. But backstage, everyone was in shock. Bowie had just returned from death. The concert took a 10-minute break. Tony DeFries said to Bowie, "David, we should cancel the concert." Bowie shook his head. "No. 17,000 people are here. The show will go on, but I won't use that platform again." Fisher and the crew held an emergency meeting. The hydraulic system was completely broken. They told Bowie, "We can continue without the platform, but half the stage design will be unusable." Bowie shrugged, "Then we'll improvise." The concert continued, but it was different. Bowie didn't go on the platforms, he just performed at the front of the stage. But the energy had changed. Bowie sang every song like it was his last. When he sang Rock and Roll Suicide, there was real fear of death in his voice. When the concert ended, Bowie went straight to his dressing room. Carlos Alomar waited at the door. A few minutes later, Bowie came out, tired but determined. "Carlos, tomorrow night there's a concert in Detroit. Are you ready?" Carlos looked at him in shock. "David, you nearly died tonight." Bowie answered with a tired smile, "I know. That's why tomorrow will be better." After Philadelphia, the Diamond Dogs tour continued, but everything had changed. Before every concert, Bowie would sit quietly, thinking about what had happened. The hydraulic system was attempted to be repaired in every city, but was never fully reliable. In Detroit, the platform malfunctioned again. In Boston, the electrical system short-circuited. In New York, the rotating bridge got stuck and Bowie was trapped. In mid-July, the technicians revolted. A security report was written. "This stage is unsafe. There's a risk of accident every night." Bowie tore up the report. The tour will continue. In early August, the third major accident happened in Los Angeles. A crane cable snapped. The platform dropped half a foot. Bowie's back was strained. A doctor warned, "You should stop using these platforms." Bowie didn't listen. Carlos Alomar said years later, "We had trouble understanding why David continued. Something went wrong every night. It was like he was testing fate, like he was trying to prove to himself that death couldn't take him." October 1974, the tour ended. 74 concerts, countless accidents. Bowie was alive but exhausted. Living with the fear of death every night changes a person. In November, Bowie entered the studio and recorded the Young Americans album. His musical style had completely changed. Stage shows became simpler. No more moving platforms, no more dangerous sets, just Bowie, a microphone and music. The Diamond Dogs tour became legend in rock history. For the first time, a rock concert reached the scale of a Broadway production. For the first time, stage design was as important as the music itself. The next generation of rock stars, from Pink Floyd to U2, drew inspiration from Bowie's vision. Jules Fisher wrote years later, "Diamond Dogs was my most dangerous project, but the one I'm most proud of. Yes, we nearly killed him, but we forever changed rock and roll stage design." The Diamond Dogs tour forever changed the music industry. For the first time, safety standards were established for stage designs. Hydraulic systems began to be backed up. Safety protocols were developed for artists. In 1975, the American Musicians Union established new rules. All moving stage equipment had to be tested 3 times. Hydraulic systems had to have backup power. Artists being lifted more than 6 feet had to wear safety harnesses, even if they weren't visible to the audience. And every tour needed a dedicated safety coordinator. These rules came directly as a result of the Diamond Dogs disaster. Jules Fisher said years later, "That tour changed the industry. Yes, we nearly killed Bowie, but afterwards we saved hundreds of artists' lives. Because systems changed, rules changed. Artists can no longer take Diamond Dogs level risks, and that's a good thing." Today, when you see Beyoncé flying above the stage, or Lady Gaga performing dangerous stunts, or The Weeknd on massive moving platforms, there are teams of engineers and safety experts making sure nothing goes wrong. That culture of safety began with the lessons learned from Diamond Dogs. The financial cost of the tour was staggering. The final budget reached over $300,000. Bowie nearly went bankrupt, but ticket sales exceeded expectations. The tour actually turned a profit by the end, a small profit, but still a profit. Tony Defries was amazed. "David, this is a miracle. People are paying money to watch you nearly die." Bowie laughed. "That's show business, Tony." But the real cost wasn't financial, it was psychological. Living with the fear of death every night, knowing that one mechanical failure could end everything, that kind of pressure changes a person, and it changed Bowie. 17,000 people were at that opening night in Philadelphia. Years later, hundreds would tell their stories about what they witnessed. Susan Whitmore was 17 years old that night. When Bowie went up, we were all applauding. We thought it was part of the show. Then the platform stopped and we realized something was terribly wrong. We could see Bowie's face from where we were sitting. He was scared, really scared. That moment felt like it lasted forever. We all thought he was going to fall, and if he had fallen, we would have all witnessed it. That fear has stayed with me for 50 years. Michael was there that night, sitting in the crowd while his brother recovered in the hospital. My brother had been injured during the setup just days before. When I saw Bowie's platform malfunction, when I saw him hanging up there swaying back and forth, I finally understood why my brother got hurt. These systems were deadly dangerous. Every night was Russian roulette, but Bowie kept going. That courage, or maybe madness, I'll never forget it. Jennifer Cole was 14 years old, attending her first concert. My parents took me. I was so excited. When Bowie almost fell, my mum grabbed me and said, "Don't look." But I looked. I couldn't look away, and I've never forgotten that moment. Bowie became my hero that night, not because of his music, but because even when he was terrified, even when he almost died, he kept performing. He finished the show. That taught me something about how to face fear in life. The Diamond Dogs tour is remembered as one of the most dangerous but most influential tours in rock history. Bowie risked everything for his vision. He nearly died, not once but multiple times over those 6 months. But he laid the foundation for modern rock concerts. He proved that a rock show could be as theatrical and ambitious as any Broadway production. Today, Bowie's legacy lives on in every massive stage design, every moving platform, every ambitious production that pushes the boundaries of what's possible. He pushed those boundaries first, and the industry changed because of it. Carlos Alomar said years later, "David taught me what courage means, but he also taught me what wisdom means. He understood risk, he understood death, and he chose to live." That night in Philadelphia, when he hung there 20 feet high and escaped falling, it wasn't just a physical escape, it was a spiritual transformation, and that transformation made him a legend. If this story moved you, please subscribe and don't miss other untold stories from music history. Don't forget to like and share your thoughts in the comments. How much risk should be taken for art? What's your answer?